Hi everyone, this is Prepping by Faith. Welcome back to my channel. I've been thinking about prepping and how, especially for those that are new to it, it can become a bit overwhelming. There's so much to learn about what to prep, quantities, how to package it for long term, and then all of the various tools, water filtration, bug out gear. The list is endless and can seem daunting. So what I wanted to do today is get you on track with 6 easy steps for you to work smarter, not harder. So the first thing I believe you should do is have a plan for organization. If you just start hauling in everything under the sun with no idea of where you're going to put it, you are going to have a mess on your hands. Trust me, I made that mistake in the beginning. So think about where you want to put everything you're prepping, whether it's a spare, unused guest room, a corner of your basement, or a closet that you can repurpose. Once you know where you're going to put your preps, you need to think about what you need to help keep them organized. The best solution is some sort of shelving unit, or if you're handy, building your own solid shelving unit. Another mistake I made is purchasing those plastic shelving units. Those are fine if the only thing you're going to be stacking is lightweight paper products, but since most of us aren't going to be purchasing just toilet paper and paper towels, I would avoid those altogether. It isn't that much more expensive for the solid metal racks, especially if you get them from a big box store, and when your items are safe and secure, the peace of mind is invaluable. The second item is to make rotation easier. We all know that once we purchase food, we're going to have to rotate through it if we want to ensure we aren't storing a ton of expired foods. We know that canned goods and some of the dried goods can last much longer if packaged for long term, but we still need a way of cycling through those cans, condiments, and boxed goods more easily. If you're new to prepping, you probably haven't yet heard about a working pantry and a long-term pantry. Your working pantry is the one that you are going to be eating out of regularly. This is where you're going to grab your foods that you eat on a regular basis. Your long-term pantry is just that, your backup pantry, where you want to store your overflow and then other items that have a 5+ year shelf life. So to make rotating through these goods easier, you need to have them organized in a way that when you bring in replacements, you can store them in your long-term pantry and pull the older ones from there to rotate into your working pantry. Let's say you notice you've used a couple of cans of diced tomatoes. You know you want to replace those, so you purchase a couple of new cans to replace them. You realize these have a fresher date than the extras you have in your long-term pantry. So you would want to pull the couple of cans from your long-term pantry and move them to your working pantry so that the new ones you just purchased are placed back into your long-term pantry. The other thing you can do is clearly mark the dates with a black marker on the tops of the cans and boxes so it's easily noticed. It makes it much easier to see when you are coming up on an expiration date. That brings me to point number 3. You need to create a schedule to go through your preps about once a month to look for items coming up on an expiration date. That way you can gauge what meals you should plan to make with those preps so they don't go to waste. I would suggest setting a recurring appointment on your calendar so that you are reminded of this and can easily fit it in. It's easy enough to get distracted with everything happening on a daily basis, but it's very important to stay on top of our preps. Number 4 is don't cheap out. Just because something costs less up front does not mean it is the best bang for your buck or is going to withstand what you need it for. The perfect example was the plastic shelving unit versus the metal shelving one. Another one might be a shovel for gardening, a cheap tent you picked up, or a sleeping bag that you found on Amazon for $10. If you're in a true shtf situation, you're going to want those preps to last because you probably won't be able to run to the store and replace them. Sometimes it makes sense to put a little more money behind something that is going to last you. I'm not saying don't find a good deal, but always spend time reading the reviews, and the best way to know if something is going to last is to put it to the test now rather than waiting until you're in the middle of a full-blown shtf event. The 5th thing you can do is start talking to others in the prepping community. If you're stumped about something you're trying to prep or you don't understand how to get something to work, I can guarantee you there is someone out there who has already wrestled with the same problem you are dealing with right now. Go ahead and leave a question in the comment section. Even if a content creator doesn't have the answers or doesn't see your comment, someone else in the prepping community will most likely have just the answer you are looking for, or their suggestion might spur an idea for you. Nothing is impossible. The sixth and last thing that is going to help you work smarter, not harder, is to continue to learn and be willing to learn. We can only get better at practicing a skill if we do it on a regular basis. We can't expect to know everything overnight or perfect everything overnight. It takes time, practice, and dedication. Don't make the mistake of comparing yourself to others either. All that does is cause you to get into a cloud of negativity, and it shuts off the creative side of your brain. We need to be as inventive as possible if we are going to thrive in an shtf event. Remember that old saying, practice makes perfect? Yeah, I think they were onto something. So that wraps up my video on how to work smarter, not harder. I hope this has helped you strategize how to be better prepared and has given you some insight into prepping. Working smarter, not harder can be done if we take the time to think a problem through and have a plan before diving in. If you've enjoyed this video today, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Remember to pray, prep, and put God first. God bless.